Since the release of its first season back in September of 2016, it didn't take long for This Is Us to become one of the most popular family dramas in the history of NBC. And now that 5 whole seasons have passed in the blink of an eye, with everything from dramatic deaths to heart-wrenching decisions placing the viewership on the edge of their seats, it's really no wonder that the next installment is so highly anticipated. But what do we really know about Season 6 of This Is Us? And how is it about to change everything we know about the franchise so far? Well, whether you're a fan of the series or just want to know more about the future of the most popular flagship title of NBC, stay right where you are, as we're about to explore everything there is to know about the continuation of the franchise. So strap yourselves in and get ready for one heck of a journey, as things are about to get interesting. But before we get into it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss any of the new videos we post. The renewal of This Is Us. Before the onset of the coronavirus pandemic, things used to be pretty simple. Not only were we able to go outside and do whatever we wanted to, within the ambit of the law of course, we were also able to know precisely if and when we would be able to sink our teeth into a new installment of our favorite franchises. Look at Game of Thrones, for example, which had a solid 4 seasons renewed at once due to the fact that the show was such a hit with fans. This is, however, no longer the case, as the spread of COVID-19 has, to a certain extent, brought the filming industry to its knees. You see, back before this pandemic, studios had a certain budget that could be used to bring these shows to fruition, and it goes without saying that since a number of the viewers have lost their jobs and have thus turned towards the pirating of shows, both networks and streaming platforms have found themselves struggling financially. This is why a great many popular shows are still left to marinate for a month or so after their release before being renewed. A great example of this is Bridgerton, which swept the globe towards the end of December, leading this year into a literal bang if you know what we mean. Even though the show was by far one of the most popular installments of the year, it still took Netflix over a month to renew it. That's how the spread of COVID-19 has essentially affected the budgetary concerns of streaming platforms. But as it turns out, there are still a few shows out there that have garnered enough popularity through the years that networks are more than willing to renew them despite this tragic pandemic. And wouldn't you know it, one of these shows is This Is Us, with Season 6 of the franchise already having been confirmed back in 2019. But according to reports, it looks as if this installment will be the last spearheaded by the NBC network. This doesn't mean that we won't be seeing more of the titular cast in the years to come, as NBC can still renew the show further, or have a streaming platform take over with the rights. For now though, that's the information we have to work with. So when can we expect the 6th installment to land on our screens, keeping in mind that the 5th season ended just a few months ago? The Season 6 release date. Well, to truly understand how long we'll have to wait to get eyes on the latest installment, we have to look at the effects of the coronavirus pandemic once more. You see, the spread of COVID-19 didn't just result in further budgetary constraints for networks and streaming platforms. Life prior to the pandemic was quite simple, with fans being handed release dates for movies and series like they were going out of fashion. In those days, there was a schedule that had to be stuck to, and as long as this was done, a film or show would come out on time, meeting the expectation of the announced release date. But after the cloud of COVID descended on the world, things began to change. It all started with the initial lockdown that happened in stages across the globe. With this lockdown, sets were forced to close down for a couple of months, resulting in a multitude of delays. And when these sets opened up once more, this wasn't without change. Regulations and safety precautions were instituted in an attempt to curb the spread of the virus, causing sets to quarantine for a few days after a crew or cast member found himself testing positive. Suffice to say, this resulted in even further delays. This meant that the release dates of shows that had been already announced had to be delayed on a number of occasions, causing fans to grow more and more frustrated by the situation that was developing. So the decision was made by streaming platforms and networks to no longer announce such information until a time at which both filming and post-production had wrapped up on a series. The thought was that fans would be far less disappointed by being left in the dark than by waiting for a date to arrive, not only to be told that things had changed once more. As proof of this, look towards Netflix once more, and their flagship titles of Stranger Things and The Witcher. We still have zero idea when the continuation of these franchises will be released, with each new installment being confirmed over a year ago. So you can see the effects of the coronavirus pandemic have been many. So as to when we can expect to see Season 6 6 of This Is Us, we have no idea, as the latest installment is still in the process of filming. We can, however, estimate when we could see the season by taking a look at its past. According to reports, it takes around a year for a season of This Is Us to both film and wrap up with post-production. So at the very least, we can expect to see this newest installment make an appearance sometime next year. And while the likelihood is a July 2022 release, it could end up being a lot longer depending on the number of delays experienced. So we'll have to hope for the best and expect the worst to prevent ourselves from getting disappointed in the future. The cast of Season 6. Although Season 5 of the franchise ended with an absolute bombshell, it goes without saying that the entirety of the Pearson family will be returning for the newest installment. This includes Milo Ventimiglia as Jack Pearson, Mandy Moore as Rebecca Pearson, Sterling K. Brown as Randall Pearson, Chrissy Metz as Kate Pearson, and Justin Hartley as Kevin Pearson. This remains true even though Jack passed away all those years ago. In other words, we still expect him to entertain us and inform the viewer more about the Pearson family in the form of emotional flashbacks. Other names of importance that have been confirmed for the upcoming 6th season of the franchise include Caitlin Thompson as Madison Simmons, Susan Kelechi Watson as Beth, Chris Sullivan as Toby, John Huertas as Miguel Rivas, Eris Baker as Tess Pearson, Faith Herman as Ann Pearson, and of course, Lyric Ross as Deha. According to reports, we can also expect to see more of Chris Gere as Philip. No information has currently been given regarding the new names that might appear alongside our beloved cast members, but there have been rumors in the air regarding the appearance of at least some new blood. Who this could possibly be, we have no idea though, but we'll keep you up to date with the latest in This Is Us casting news as the days go by. The plot of Season 6. Since filming has only just begun, it goes without saying that the plot of the season is still heavily under wraps, and with no trailer to go off of, we'll have to make some guesses based on the shocking reveal that took place in Season 5. For those of you who needed a reminder of sorts, the finale kicked off by showing Kevin apparently preparing his vows for his marriage to Madison, but this was a misdirection, as the wedding never actually happened. This was instead a time hop to around 4 years later, where Kevin was practicing his lines to officiate Kate's wedding. And surprisingly enough, it wasn't Toby that Kate was getting married to, but the charismatic music teacher Philip instead. Suffice to say, audience members gasped audibly when this shocking moment was revealed, making us all collectively wonder what would actually be happening in the latest installment. And it goes without saying that we need a lot more information regarding how our favorite characters reached this point. We always knew that Kate could do a lot better than Toby, who started out great but ended up being a true villain of the franchise. What could he have possibly done to turn her away from him though? She seemed pretty trapped in the relationship when we last checked in with them. This is clearly one of the plot points that is sure to change This Is Us forever. What we expect is to see Kate rise up above his cycle of abuse and become a strong, independent woman who falls in love with Philip in the process. But this could very well also be resolved by having Toby pass away in some sort of unfortunate event. The show could even cause something drastic to happen in the form of Kate actually being responsible for his death. Now, wouldn't that be something? Either way, we expect to see the end to this villainous relationship in the newest installment. We just have no idea how the story will advance. There are other questions that Season 6 has to answer as well. Who is the mystery lady that Nikki was married to in this flash forward? And are Kevin and Madison together once more? Or have they just learned to be amicable with one another for the kids? And then there's the question of the health of the Pearson family matriarch. This wouldn't be the first time that we have seen Rebecca on her deathbed after all, with a flash forward in Season 4 showing that her dementia is going to get a lot worse before or even if it does get better. So we fully expect the upcoming installment of the franchise to take a look at the health of the matriarch and possibly even bring about the end of her contract. Deaths are always a great way to push forward both drama and reconciliation, and there have been very few deaths in This Is Us over the entirety of the show's runtime. Does this mean that we can expect a death to shake things up in the future? We guess we'll just have to wait and see. But what do you think? Feel free to let us know in the comments section down below.